Hi, this is Shupriyo. Congratulations to all of you who have qualified for the RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination. And I know time is very limited. I wanted to do some more things about it, but couldn't really get the time. I've been busy with some other projects. But yeah, hopefully this video helps you out. Many people had some questions regarding how you are going to fill up your biodata form and what you have to send and all those things. So hopefully it's going to clear out all the things. Now, of course, we are in the final stretch of the examination. So you have to send your documents to RBI. It is quite weird that they have asked us to do it right now. It is certainly something that has never been asked before. So how are you going to send it? So let's find out. Okay, so sending your documents to RBI. So the PDF that RBI actually sent us. Okay, so these are all the result links and everything and all the relevant things. Okay, yeah, this one. So all shortlisted candidates should submit the following documents latest by March 22, 2021 to RBISB on one email ID. So they have given you the email ID. You just have to get the documents, each of them scanned, and one combined PDF file you have to send to RBI. So that's what you have to do. Now remember some of the few important points. So documents need to be sent from registered email ID only. Remember this. So whatever email ID you have used to actually register for the examination, only use that email ID. Don't use any other email ID when you are sending the email. So this is the email that you have to send to, and your registered email ID, from there you should be mailing them. And also the documents must be in PDF format and self-certified. Now many people were confused about self-certified. So what this basically means, earlier also we used to have to like do this. What I had done was I had taken a black and white Xerox of each and every PDF and I had just signed it. So you can just go ahead and do that. It really won't really matter. And you can use actually, some people were saying like blue ink or black ink. It doesn't really matter. If you want, you can sign using blue ink. That looks a little bit more professional, but yeah, even black ink will be fine. And you have to, you can, if you want, you can get a color Xerox. So you can get a color Xerox if you want, but I think that black and white will be doing just fine. So even a black and white Xerox and your signature on that, that's going to be fine. Because remember, these documents that they are talking about, on the day of the interview, they are going to have what? They are going to have the DV, the document verification. So for that purpose they are taking it right now. I have no idea why they are doing it now. They should have waited at least, but yeah, it's RBI's decision. Page size to be A4, so this doesn't really matter. Whatever scanning you are doing, it is going to be in A4. Document should be scanned in one single file in the same serial as mentioned below. So they've mentioned the serial. I'll go to that. Size of the email should not exceed 20 MB. Now this is quite important. So you have to actually compress the PDF so that it fits into 20 MB, because initially it will not fit. So how are you going to do that? So how do you go about compressing your PDFs? Just open Google and type compress PDF. All right. So you'll get this website, ilovepdf.com. So you can just put your PDF file, whatever PDF file you have created, the total merged PDF file, into this thing, and you can just get it compressed. So the compression algorithm here works perfectly, so you don't need to worry at all. And you can do whatever you want basically. Like you can even do the merged PDF as well over here. Though if you are just scanning your PDFs, then the merged PDF probably you are not going to actually require. So you can do the merged PDF over here. You can split PDF, you can compress PDF, and you can do all the relevant activities. So just do it like this, and you can get the PDF in the desired file size. Okay, so finally you know how you can do that, and it's going to be fitting into the 20 MB thing. So don't worry, that's what you have to do. Don't send it more than 20 MB, because then it's going to be very difficult to send over Google anyway. Like I think like even 20 MB it can be a little bit difficult. So get it to around like 15-16 MB or something. And don't worry, like when you are using that merge PDF that I just showed you, it's going to come into a very manageable size. So do not worry at all. Ensure the documents uploaded are clear and readable. Of course, it has to be legible. And when you are sending the documents, the subject, this is very important. So the subject, it has to be, first you are writing registration number, the line of the subject they're talking about. So the registration number, then put a small dash, then your name of the candidate. So registration number dash Shupriyo Panda, that's what I would write, dash posts RBI grade B general, DPR or DSM. So you have to just write down the post that you are applying for. So just write down like grade B DR. general. Yeah, because if you are general, or if you are DPR or DSIM. So that is how you are going to write the subject, and make sure that you are writing the subject properly, right? Because they have told you the exact format. So you just have to follow the instructions, nothing else. So let's go to the next part, whatever they are asking. So yeah, this is how you are going to have to send them all the documents. Now the first thing will be your biodata. So it has to be filled in the original and scanned. Now I will talk about the biodata a little bit later. So the first document in this large merged PDF, that will be your biodata, the first document. Then and it has a lot of pages, so remember you have to fill every single thing. Then the next document is the proof of date of birth. Now this will usually be your birth certificate, but yeah, if you have any change of name, then you are going to have to file an affidavit in original, that is to be required at the time of the interview. So the affidavit, you have to actually take a Xerox of it, and you have to attach it along with the date of birth certificate, and the original you are going to take on the day of the document verification. Now the certificates of educational qualification, so here they have just mentioned like graduation or like post graduation, degree, diploma, etc. Now I would actually recommend that you give the class 10 and the class 12 as well, but this time since there's no mention, even if you are giving just the graduation, I think it's going to be just fine. It won't really be mattering, but what I would do is that I would arrange it like this, like class 10 the pass certificate and the mark sheet, and then class 12 pass certificate and the mark sheet, and then you are going to give the college one. So the college one, and remember for the college you are going to have to give each and every single mark sheet, right? All the mark sheets, they must be submitted. So if you are, for example, an engineering grad, then your first through to the 8th semester, all the semester mark sheets you have to upload, you have to arrange, and then you have to have your degree certificate, and yeah, that's going to be enough. So all these documents you have to actually arrange in this order. So remember the order, this is very important. First it's going to be your biodata, all right, your biodata, then your date of birth, the date of birth certificate, and then like this you are going to arrange the rest of the document. So that's going to be enough. And now if you are having any kind of category, then OBC candidates, you have to give the OBC caste certificate and the declaration, so they have given the format. SC/ST candidates, again certificate. EWS, you are going to again give the certificate, and the persons with benchmark disabilities, so they have to also give the required documents. And of course also remember the staff candidates, so they have to submit their documents through the HRMD or staff section of respective RO. So you can directly submit it through your regional the office. And if you have any kind of benefit of age relaxation, you should submit the relevant certificate. Okay, another thing I forgot, I think over here, yeah, if there is a conversion criteria, so yeah, I remember I had actually submitted the conversion criteria as well. Now conversion criteria is what? Like if you have just a GPA, then you have to find out the GPA to percentage. So just go to Google and write down your university name, GPA to percentage formula, something like that. And if you write it down, so for example mine is the it was the West Bengal University of Technology, now it is the MAKAUT. Anyhow, when you go online and when you search for that, you are going to get a PDF, and that PDF shows us what the conversion criteria is, so how the GPA is converted into the percentage. Now if you do not have something like this, don't worry at all. What is going to apply to you is the note 2 of the para 3 of the recruitment advertisement. So basically in the notification itself, in that section, you are going to get a conversion criteria, and if you do not provide any conversion criteria, then RBI is going to default to that thing. So that is all, I think. Yeah, any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I think we covered most of the things. And yeah, you are going to get the phase 2 call letters very soon. So they are going to give you the morning shift and the afternoon shifts. So that's what you have to take to your phase 2 examination. And yeah, so basically this is it about the required documents that you have to send to RBI. And again, any questions, feel free to let me know. Okay, now that is done. So you know about whatever documents you have to send by email. Now let's take a look at the biodata form. And remember, I have an entire video on the biodata form itself, how you are going to fill it up. And I have shown you my biodata form that I had actually submitted. So that's going to give you a lot of ideas. Any questions that you have, you can always put them down in the comments below. I'll definitely help you out. But I think that video is going to be very useful. And about the biodata form, so let's take a look at the biodata form that you are supposed to send to them. Okay, so this is the biodata form that you have to submit. Now affix your passport size photograph over here and just sign across it. That will be enough. So sign it. So a portion of the sign should be over here and another over here, a portion of the sign and another the cross sign should be over your photo. So that is how you have to do. And yeah, so the post applied for these things are we have already discussed it. And again, remember, just make sure to watch that biodata form video that I had created. All of the things I have discussed, so you don't need to worry about the roll number. Usually phase 2 the roll number does not change. Only when you go to the interview your roll number is going to change, so don't worry about it. You still have like till 22nd, right? So wait for maybe 3-4 days, see if the phase 2 call letter comes out, and I am pretty sure that the roll number there will be the same as the phase 1 roll number. So you can write down that roll number, it is not going to matter. So this doesn't have to be the interview roll number, it is just the phase 1 and the phase 2 roll number. That's what it's going to be. Medium of the interview, that also you have to specify whether it is English or Hindi, your name, present postal address, and these all other things that I have discussed in my biodata video. All the things, yeah. So I have actually put the link down below, you can check that video, and all the things, yeah, these things are all right. Every single thing we have discussed over here, and particulars of like very high academic or professional qualifications, anything that you have, you know, if they are valuable to RBI, you can mention it. Gross salary, every single thing, and regarding this knowledge of languages other than English, yeah, these things, and also your past employments, salary drawn, all the things. And yeah, as we see, like each and every single thing is the same as we had earlier. Just remember, yeah, this receipt number. So receipt number is nothing but your registration number. So registration or receipt number, same thing. You know, you can just write down your receipt number over here, the same registration number that you have on your call letter. And yeah, all these things I think we have already discussed, and just write down the particulars of the copies of certificates that you have placed. So I have discussed each and every single thing in my biodata video. If you still have any doubts, put them in the comments down below. I'll definitely help you out. And yeah, that is all about the biodata form. Okay, so that is done, and now coming back to the 3 sections basically. So you now know whatever you have to send to RBI, and about the 3 sections that you have to actually focus on, the ESI, the FM and the English. Now if you want to divide your time, many people earlier they used to dedicate a lot of time to their solely English preparation. Now I would not recommend you to do that, because in your ESI preparation and your FM preparation, your English preparation is going to be self-contained in that preparation. Now I have actually made a separate video on the entire English paper and how you are going to go about it. So if you have some doubts regarding the précis especially, so you can go check it out, and you can practice a few précis. But I don't really think that you need to practice essays that much this time. You don't really have time. So just read your ESI, read your FM, and you have to just practice typing out those answers, those descriptive answers. So that is what you have to practice. You don't have to practice your essay that much, because those preparations, they are going to help you out in your final examination in the English. And regarding the 3 sections, now English, it actually becomes very important, because see, many of the people, they are not going to be able to cover the ESI and the FM, but the English everybody is going to be able to cover. So make sure that you are not faltering in English. And as I told you, that whenever you are practicing the descriptive papers for the ESI and FM, your English preparation is going to actually go out just fine, like it's going to happen just fine. So don't worry, just remember to have some précis practice, because that is something that is a little bit different, that is a little bit more technical. So remember that whenever you are practicing the objective questions, it's okay, objectives are also going to come, but the descriptive things you have to actually type it out. Now here we come to the descriptive answers that you have to actually write down. Now remember, one very important thing is that the keyboard that you're going to use. So the keyboard, it has to be a regular office keyboard. It cannot be your laptop, or definitely it cannot be your mobile. So please do not practice writing answers on your mobile. It is not going to help at all. Understand this fact. You have to purchase just this clanky keyboard that you have. So I'll put a link down in the description, you can check it out. It's going to help you out to go ahead and practice in the proper way, because that keyboard in the examination center, it's going to be very different from whatever you are used to. The second thing to remember is that you should be using your notepad for writing your descriptive answer. So do not use any kind of Word document. remember this, because the Word document, it will give you that automatic spell check and you do not want that. And the notepad, it is actually a bit more similar to whatever you are going to face in the final examination. So in the final examination, the space where you are writing, it's going to be a small box, right? It's going to be like your notepad. So write down in the notepad, get used to it, get used to correcting your grammar, correcting your spellings. So make sure that those things you are not having any problems with. And also the third thing that you have to remember is that some of the points, so you can write bullet points, right? So that is how you have to do. So the different kinds of bullet points that you can use in this examination. Now you might not get those circular bullet points. So if you are writing bullet points, just use the minus key. Just use the minus key and write down some points, then press enter, then press the minus key again, and then you write down your points. So that is how you can use your bullet points in your examination. And also remember, the expectation is that we are going to have the 10 markers and the 15 markers, right? So for the 10 marker questions, descriptive questions, you can write about 150 words. Don't go beyond 200 for these 10 marker questions. And for the 15 marker questions in the descriptive section, you can write about 300 words. So about 300 words will be enough. 250 to 300 words, that's going to be enough, more than enough for answering that question. And questions, of course, they are going to be a bit more technical, so you have to cover everything, whatever is there. You have to be just conversant with all the numbers and all the important key points that you have to write about. So example, that if you are given any kind of scheme, government scheme to write about, so you should be knowing about the finer details, so you can just point it out. And if you use those bullet point forms like dash and then you write down, so that is, I think, much more better, because it's much more readable. So make sure that your writing is a bit more readable, and press the enter key and just format your writing. So don't have like this huge block of text, like that's very difficult to read. So don't have that long lines of text or walls of text, as we call it. So format your writing very, very well, and this is how you're going to actually practice it. And finally, what you have to keep in mind, so one important thing to remember over here is that whenever you are typing the answers, you're going to get a lot of noise, because many people in that same examination hall are going to be typing out their answers, right? So that clicking of the keys, that is sometimes very distracting. So if you can do some kind of practice in your home as well, like having some clicking noises in your computer or somewhere, so that you can focus, so try and write down your answers in a noisy environment. That also helps. So this is also part of a simulation of the environment, that in the final examination there are going to be so many people typing on those old keyboards, so it's going to create a lot of noise, and you can just simulate that noise when you are doing your practice, and hopefully that's going to work out in your favor. Another thing that people were asking me whether they need some mock test or not. So remember, in the phase 2 of RBI grade B, you actually do not need to sit for mock tests. Remember this thing always, because the mock test, what it does, this actually helps you to pace yourself better, isn't it? But in the final examination, the phase 2, you are going to have ample time. Believe me, there's going to be ample time. You are actually going to be left over with lot of time, because you'll see that the questions are not that many. They are going to be selected questions, and you can have, like, you will be getting some options on which you have to just write down the answers. So you have to pick and you have to write. So you don't really need to sit for a mock test or anything. Just have your practice and just get conversant with writing down, like typing all the answers. So that takes time. So that is why you have to be ready with typing out all the answers, and that is the practice that you should be doing. So don't waste your time by sitting for long mock tests, because it's not going to be useful at all. And finally, I just want you to remember that there's lots of things that you have to cover, many things, and it might seem impossible to cover all of these things in the 2.5 weeks that we have remaining. But just remember that whatever is happening, you have to remember that 270 people in the generalist I'm talking about. So 270 people, they are going to make it to RBI this year, isn't it? No matter how difficult the paper is, no matter how less time they have, 270 people are going to make it. So you just have to be within those 270 people. And how many people were selected this time? I think 3,800 or like 4,000, less than 4,000 I think this time made it to phase 2. So your competition, it's actually still doable, I feel, because many people, they cracked the phase 1 who are not adequately prepared for for phase 2. So you have to be just among 13 or 14 people, every 13 or 14 people, one guy or one girl is going to get selected. So you just have to beat those 13 or 14 people. That is what you have to do. So all the best for this examination. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comments down below, and just go ahead and put your best foot forward. Try as much as possible. You don't have to make it this time. This will be a great experience as well. So think about it in this way, that it's going to be a great experience for your future attempts, and in the future also RBI will be coming out with lots of notifications, so don't worry about it. Just give it your best shot and see what happens, because RBI, it is worth trying. So just try. I hope that you learned something in this video and that it was beneficial to you. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click on the subscribe button and do not forget to click the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.